Hi, friends. Welcome to Race to Rise podcast, a place where we discuss bite sized wisdom nuggets with easy to follow practices to live a better life. I am your host, Mital Patel, a parenting junkie, Ayurveda enthusiast, and an advocate of conscious living. About 6 years ago, I made a mistake in my parenthood. Yes, just when I was expecting my second child, I made a mistake with my older one by not having a conversation about having a sibling, not having a conversation about what to expect when you become the older brother. I got so carried away with just the excitement of adding another bundle of joy in our family that I totally forgot to address the safety needs of my older one. And today I wanted to share what are some of the things that we can do for our first child. As a first child, I totally feel this now when I'm reparenting my inner child, that this need of control, the need of being a perfect, the need of being the caretaker for every single thing, wanting to do everything on my own and wanting to take care of, everyone and everything. That's just rooted in my belief system because I was a first child and I ended up taking care of my siblings. So today I wanted to reframe this sibling dynamic and share what I learned from Dr. Laura Markham. And I think there is this whole analogy that she shares, and I don't know what the original source is, but I heard from Dr. Laura Markham. But I've also learned that it's probably from somebody else, from Elaine Majlish and Adele Feber. I don't know the real true source, so I'm just going to share that. They explain that sibling, it's like your partner is getting a second spouse. So let me explain that again. So one day, your partner just comes home and says, "Hey, guess what? This is going to be my new wife and your new friend in the house. So make sure you take care of her or him." How does that make us feel? Awful to our gut. All of a sudden, he or she just told me that, he or she's bringing another spouse in the house, and I have to share everything. I have to share my room. I have to share my, clothes maybe. I have to share my belongings. I have to share my partner. That's the feel our kids get. When we ask our child to get along with the sibling, it's like asking our partner or our partner asking us to get along with their second spouse. Let that sink in for a second. Just think about it. That's how our kids feel. Of course, it's an amazing news, but the way it comes out is like my safety is in danger now. And I feel like I don't belong here anymore. And I have somebody else invading into my space, right? That's how siblings feel. And so it's so important to have the conversation with our first child on what to expect. And at the same time, making sure that we are giving our first child, making sure their needs are met, the needs of feeling safe, the needs of feeling loved, feeling cared, feeling mattered. So important that the core needs are met. And so initial stages of the siblinghood is just so confusing, like what's going on, especially if the first child is young, right? But then imagine all of a sudden, you are expected to love this little human being in your life and get along, right? And then imagine one day you are playing with your toy that used to be yours and somebody just yells at you about it, saying that you can't do things like this. And they take the toy out of your hand and gives it to your little brother or sister. How does that make you feel? I think it's just beyond confusing for little brains, but at the same time, it fills us with the rage that no one could see, things from our perspective. This is what siblinghood looks like. It's hard. Siblinghood is really, really hard, where things don't make sense, and all of a sudden you have to share, and then all of a sudden you get yelled for using the things that used to be yours. And so that's what our kids feel. So I have personally witnessed this in my household that because I failed to have these conversations, because I failed to, you know, to ensure that my older one was feeling safe in the house in presence of his sibling. My first child was filled with so much rage, and he was just because in my absence, most of the time, he was being told to watch out for his sibling, to take care of his sibling, to share the stuff, share his stuff just because the little brother wants it. And so it left him with so much rage for his sibling. And it left him just so annoyed and frustrated. And so we've been going through this phase where I've been having conversations, where I've been putting my efforts in making sure that he is feeling secured. He is feeling that nobody is taking his space and he's still valued. He's still loved and cared and mattered in this family. And so it's so important to touch bases on these kind of feeling of detachments during the early years. Otherwise, it grows and it creates a lot of resentment for the siblings. And so one thing I learned that, our kids want nothing more than our connection with us, with parents. And they want to feel loved, seen, and cared. And they want to feel secure in our parent-child attachment. They just want to feel safe. And so if you're a parent who is constantly, witnessing this sibling rivalry and who are seeing that children are fighting nonstop with their siblings who can't be happy for their brother or sister for winning something or for, winning in a game or a board game, who makes fun of their brother at any chance they get, then understand that deeper they are saying that they don't feel secure in their family and they are saying that I'm not getting what I need to feel safe. And as a result, the only way they look at their sibling as a threat to their safety and they look at their sibling as their competitors. They are competing for the love of their parents. They're competing for the attention of their parents, right? Of course, we cannot undo this evolution. And if a child does not feel secure in the family, a sibling feels like a threat to them. And so what can we do in these situations? So we all know that there's plenty of help and there are so many resources that we can learn from where we can make our kids feel more secure in the family, right? So try to focus on both the children. We don't have to make them feel like they're equal, but we want to make sure that their needs are fulfilled because each child may have different needs. So, for example, my older one's need is quality time with me. It's the need for hugs. He has needs to feel, secure and safe. Where my little one's need is for me to make space for him to express his anger, for me to make space for, for his frustration. So they both have different needs. And so it's important for us parents to make sure to make that space for our children and make the environment for our children to express their needs and fulfill their needs. And don't worry that, we all feel that, oh my gosh, I've been on the wrong path or I've done just wrong. Instead of sabotaging yourself, focus on how can I self-regulate and how can I add regulation? How can I reconnect with my child and myself? That's it for this week's episode of Race to Rise. Be sure to sign up to our email list at risewithmittal.com and join us again next time for more wisdom about life, kids, and everything in between. I am Mittal Patel, wishing you happy raising and rising.